Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. This is your host, Iggy, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode. I believe this is video 131, which is really hard for me to believe because when I started this a year ago, I guess it was, I didn't think I would still be doing it a year later. But here we are, and it seems to be growing, and I appreciate all of you guys who've enlisted in the Iggy Army to get Iggy with it. And I hope it inspires you to get your own collection out of shoe boxes or boxes up in the attic or wherever it is they might be lurking, hidden away from human eyesight. Why should spiders and little mice enjoy your collection? Why can't you have it? Ideally, it would be great if we all had a room, a separate room, a man cave, if you like, where we could put these all on display on shelves. At any rate, I don't have that room, so what I'm going to do is share it with you in these videos. And today I've got some tanks made by Unimax under their Forces of Valor banner, and they are M3 tanks, which were manufactured by the Americans and sold to the English. And the English made a few changes. They changed the name from Lee to Grant, and they also put a different turret on the tank. Now, you might be asking, well, what is the difference between those two things? And I'll show you right here. Now, here you have the American Lee, and here is the Grant. And you'll notice that this turret is quite different than the American version. Pardon me. And they manufactured those in Canada. I think they also may have manufactured them in England, these turrets. Okay, and the British used these in North Africa. And Montgomery used them extensively when he began his great assault after the El Alamein battles. Now, what's really cool about these vehicles is that if you look very closely, and I'm going to get as close as I can so that hopefully you can see it. Can you see that? Now this is a detail that Unimax put into these, which they didn't have to do, but really enhances in my opinion, the realism of the model. Is you'll notice that the turret is dimpled, and a lot of cast iron or cast steel will have that strange effect to it, this dimpling that you see there. And I think it's very interesting that they had done that, because it's a detail that, they could have perfectly gotten away without including it. And then they put little things like the name of the tank and other markings on the tank. So that's very cool. And these illustrations that you see in the back show, a desert camo scheme. They had several different camo schemes. Did I bring my British camo book? Well, I'll take a look in just a second. And they made some variants. For instance, we have here a winch and boom so that they could serve as tank recovery vehicles. The turret gun that you see there, and I believe also the 75, are actually fake. And I suppose that's to deter the enemy from attacking them. I'm not sure why they would put, but perhaps to enhance their impression of having greater strength. But there's two different styles of recovery vehicle. One's a winch and one has this, I heard it referred to as a cherry picker by guys in my headquarters company, but who knows? I'm sure someone's going to write me, "You don't know anything, Yiggy. I know. I'm going to tell you what that is." I don't profess to be an expert on anything. I'm not an expert on a single damn thing. And that's not false humility. That's because I've noticed that people who declare themselves an expert in something are usually pretentious. So I don't want to come off as that. I just want to share my collection. That my primary interest in doing this is sharing my collection with you. And part of that is because I'm being boastful, and part of it is because I'm enthusiastic about it, and part of it is because I want to have fun with you guys and that you have fun too. And I hope you are. So, for those of you having fun, I want to thank you very much. And for those of you who are not, I guess you've already stopped watching these videos a long time ago. But anyway, you see tank commanders in the open hatches here. Now, because they've been in storage, yeah, Iggy, you've gone over that story. I have a broken road wheel, and the canvas here, right there, is broken on one side. The antenna, well, the antenna's on this one, but on this one over here, it's missing the commander's hatch, and not the hatch, but the doors on the, I guess that's the hatch. He's missing his radio antenna. I got a story about an antenna that you might enjoy. When I was the first sergeant's driver, we had a radio in the back of our Jeep with a really long antenna, and they bent it down over the window, and it was attached to the front of the Jeep. Well, we were driving on this country road. It was a bumpy dirt road, and it had overhanging fruit trees. By the way, I ate an apple off one of those trees and threw up all over the place. And someone said, "You idiot, they have poison on those. Did you wash them?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Then we all hope you enjoy your vomiting." And that's exactly what I did, all over the side of the tank. But they told us not to do that. And being a smart ass, I ate the apple and I paid the price. But anyway, that's not the story I was telling. A low hanging branch grabbed the antenna and bent it all the way back to the rear of the Jeep. And then when we cleared the branch, the antenna flipped forward with incredible speed and hit the windshield and scared the holy effing shit out of us because we thought someone shot at us. And it smashed the window and everything. And the lieutenant who was riding with us said, "Iggy, only you could do that." But anyway, this one doesn't have an antenna either, so it must have driven underneath a tree or something. I don't know. Storage has not been kind to my vehicles. But you'll notice that it's constructed in a riveted style where the armor plates are put together using rivets. Now, the Americans did produce one that was a cast hull. And this is an illustration of it right here. And you'll notice it doesn't have all those rivets on it. Also, it has its radio antenna in a different location than the Brits. The Brits had it up on the turret. These two tanks I purchased at Target, I believe in 2007. And it sure is heartbreaking when you go to Target and you look around and there's nothing of interest anymore. Now, they said they're coming out with some classic Indiana Jones figures, so that will be of great interest to me. But I've noticed that you guys don't respond well to my toy videos, such as Star Trek and Star Wars. I did an Indiana Jones video. All of them, I think, got less than 100 views. The videos that you really seem to gravitate towards are vehicles and airfix figures. Okay, that's all I've got for you on these two figures. I hope you, on these two vehicles. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. Uh, the nice thing about having them, several of them, is you can display them so that you can see both sides of the vehicle. And here's the front, and it shows off the sponson gun. This is the sponson right here. And this gun could traverse. See that? It's limited, but it did go a little bit to each side. Otherwise, the driver would have to manipulate the tank like this so that the gunner could lay onto a target. Or perhaps the tank commander would say something about it. So let's take a look at a British tank commander, and I think I have an illustration I can share with you concerning that. Let's see. I marked the page. You guys would be proud of me. You know how I always had a problem with that. Okay, here's an illustration of a British tank commander, and he's wearing the well-known and famous black beret that this guy here is an illustration of the sergeant who gave Montgomery the beret that he wore. And it was given to him by this sergeant. And let's see, I think it has his name here. It's of the headdress of the Royal Tank Regiment. And this fella was James Fraser, Sergeant James Fraser, a crewman in Montgomery's command tank. And he's dressed as a typical tanker would have been in the desert. Okay, guys, it looks like I neglected to take my camouflage. I did. My camouflage. I have a book on British camouflage in the desert. It's actually a really good book because it has more than just things about camouflage. It also talks about tanks and vehicles and has lots of illustrations. Gosh darn it, I thought I took it with me. Maybe it's inside one of these books. So let me see if I can find that. Nope. Well, that's kind of a bummer. If you guys wanted to hang on, I would go run and get it, but at any rate. Did you want some stats on this vehicle? Because we can do that too. The M3 weighed almost 31 tons, had a crew of 6. It had a Continental R975 9-cylinder radial gas air-cooled 340 horsepower engine. Had a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour and cross-country 16. Had a range of 105 miles. Had a 75 in the sponson, which is located on the right of the hull, and a 1.5 inch or 37 millimeter gun in the turret. And the armor was 4 to 2 inches in thickness. I'm presuming it was 4 inches on the front slope and 2 inches on the side. And had a fording depth of 39 inches, which was Probably not crucial in the desert unless they're fording through an oasis. But I also have something else to share with you today, and I'm going to show that to you right now. So let's move these a little bit to the back here. Oh no, I was worried about that. I lost the tarp that was here. Darn it. It's strange, but I think my kitchen table is a portal to another universe because I've lost so many things on this table. And I look under it and behind it, and then the things never show up again. I actually lost 40 bucks. I put 40 bucks on the table. They're gone. So I don't know what's going on. At any rate, let's share something else. How do you like that? A Japanese Chiha 97. And this would have been a pretty good tank if it was in service in 1929. But by the time World War II started, this was outclassed by virtually every other country's tanks. The Australians and the British used these M3 tanks in Burma, and you can imagine they made short work of these medium tanks that the Japanese had. So let's take a look. And I think I marked a page with a Japanese tank. And here it is. Okay. So let's talk about it a little bit. It weighed 8 tons, so it was pretty little. It had a Mitsubishi inline 6-cylinder diesel air-cooled 120 horsepower engine. Had a maximum speed of 28 miles per hour on the road and had a range of 155 miles and had a 37 Type 94 cannon. And gosh darn it, I'm reading off the wrong page. I was telling you the statistics for the Type 95 Ha-Go. And we want the Type 97 Chiha. So never mind everything I just told you. Like I said earlier, and I wasn't kidding when I said I'm not an expert. Here we go. This makes more sense. The Type 97 Chiha weighed 16 and a half tons, had a crew of 4. It had an engine, Mitsubishi V12 diesel air-cooled, so it was more powerful and heavier. Had a maximum speed of 24 miles per hour on the road, a range of 130 miles, and had a 2.2-inch Type 90 cannon. So would that make it a 47 millimeter? I'm not sure what I should have paid attention in math class, shouldn't I? It's too late now. So let's take a look at an illustration of that tank. Oh, before we do that, we'll spin this around so you can see. This was available from Classic Toy Soldiers. That's who I purchased it from. I would consider it more of a toy tank than a model, whereas these die-cast vehicles by Unimax Toys under their Forces of Valor are more like models because they are greatly more detailed. But and also the road wheels on these tanks move, as does the track, and then on this it's just solid. It doesn't move, and it has no wheels on the bottom. It does slide across the table easily, as you can see there. But you know, the Marks tank that, yeah, this was manufactured by CTS, Classic Toy Soldiers, in 1996. And the Marks tank from their Battleground playset had wheels here. They had an axle with two wheels here and one over here, which this one lacks. But it doesn't like stick to the table, as you can see by me rolling it. So this is same tank over here. The one that I was reading to you statistics for earlier was this one here, which is this here, a Type 95 Hago. Now, you know what's unfortunate is that I looked on eBay and also on Google to see if Ultimate Soldier made a Japanese tank and couldn't find one. I mean, I never saw one, but I wasn't sure. Well, maybe they did make one and I just didn't have. But I noticed they never made Italian tanks or Japanese tanks. And I looked under Dragon and I looked under Forces of Valor, and I couldn't find any Japanese tanks. So if you want one, you have to maybe just have to deal with a model, a 135 scale model by Tamiya or someone else, Dragon, other model companies, or get this toy from Classic Toy Soldiers. Now, this is also available in a dark green with a well, the Americans called it a meatball, but there's a red sun on the side of the vehicle. So, what did the crew members of a let's see, I dropped all my books on the floor looking for that British markings book, and I lost my page. Oh, you know what? I got a photograph here of some models that my brother made for me. He made the landscape, grass, and he made trees and everything. And in the background, you can see a Type 97 tank. And the infantry is 135 scale. And then and this is the only thing that exists from that diorama is this picture. Because when I moved, apparently it got thrown out or something because it's gone. I can't find it anywhere. Okay, here's a picture of a sergeant in tank overalls, and I'll share that with you here. There he is wearing tank overalls. Now, this book that I'm sharing with you is awesome. It's called Japanese Army Handbook, 1939 to 1945. It's richly illustrated and has everything in it. Their radios, how they built their bunkers and camouflage, and just about everything you can think of, weapons, organization, everything. Really great photographs. I bought this book at a hobby store, believe it or not. And I highly recommend it. Who published it? Let's find out for you. Japanese Army Handbook. I gotta get going, guys. I'm making this video too long for you. Ian Allen Limited, which I think is an English company based in London. And the author is A.J. Barker. And here's a photograph of Japanese tanks on parade, probably in China. Those are tankettes in a victory parade. So let's look at some crewmen. And I gotta go back here to do that. Here we are. So I have a tank commander and a private in a tank company. This is an illustration of the private. He's wearing a cork helmet covered in canvas. And you might ask, well, why would you want to wear one of those in a tank? Man, if you've ever hit your head on the inside of a tank on the breech block or on a pipe or whatever, it hurt bad. I did it a couple times because I would forget. When we were on the road, we wore helmets because tankers' helmets, because you didn't want to hit your head like that. Could actually probably knock you out. This is a tank commander. I doubt if he had the sword inside the tank. Okay, and these are Japanese military academy cadets being trained on identifying Soviet tanks. Okay, guys, that's all I got for you this video. I want to thank you for coming along, and thank you for getting Iggy with it. I always appreciate you guys. There wouldn't be much point for me to do these if it wasn't for you. I originally said, well, I'm going to do this so that in the future I could refer to it sort of as for my own personal sake, to as like a catalog. But it's been taking a little more work than I anticipated. So it's nice to have someone else appreciating. So thank you guys. And I'm going to say goodbye. Hopefully we'll all meet up with each other in Valhalla. God, I hope not. I wouldn't fit in there very well. I need to go someplace where you can lie down with sheep. So maybe that sounds kind of weird. So maybe I'll end up at a farm. No, that's not even funny. Then why am I laughing? Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. And I'll have another video soon. It's going to be kind of difficult because remember I said that things are disappearing from this table? Well, I had a rifle from one of the figures is gone missing. I looked everywhere. I looked in the trash, under the refrigerator, under the sideboard, everywhere. There's no sign of it. And I did have it on the table. And the buckle on the World War I soldier broke. So I bought a new belt, but I can't find a new rifle. They're all sold out. I might have to ask Cowboy Carl if he's got one, because his brother worked at Sideshow Toys and he got a lot of parts from him. So maybe Cowboy Carl has a rifle. I'll have to check and see. At any rate, bye.